All right, David Morgan with you, and I've got some very interesting news. We talked about this a little bit ago, but Chris Drain of Silver Shield and Rob Gray of the American Open Currency System are with me today. And we're going to talk about this new coin that had been developed with Chris's idea, and Rob has implemented it. So, Chris, we're going to start with you.
Mhm.
You've got a purpose in this coin. Why don't you explain the front and the back, the obverse and the reverse, and why you came up with this Silver Shield coin?
Yeah, David, thank you first of all so much. You've been very instrumental in actually promoting the Silver Bullet and Silver Shield message. Many people don't know that David was one of the first guys in the blogosphere to come out and contact me after I had written the Silver Bullet and Silver Shield over a year and a half ago, and really helped me get on the map and help spread the message. And as a result, we've gone on that single article went on to be read over 400,000 times on my blog, and I've turned it into a 6.5 hour video series on YouTube, and that has a combined total of I think 1.4 million views. So it's been very instrumental in the education of the silver market, letting people know that it's not just a financial instrument; it has much more meaning behind it. And the whole purpose of the Silver Bullet and Silver Shield is that we're living essentially in a paradigm that's fueled on debt and death. And if we really were honest with ourselves, our existence here in the United States is based off of debt and death. So every time that we have these houses and cars and jobs and all this other stuff, it's if you get to the very core of it, is because the United States has the ability of printing unlimited amount of debt as the world's reserve currency, and we use that to fund our military to go out and dominate the world's resources and all sorts of good stuff that comes out of that. And that we've really not been a nation of providing value in a long time, and it's coming to an end. And so the what is it? The obverse of the coin is a very unique feature. I don't know any other coins out there that have two different sides to it. So we had the obverse have a matte finish, a little scarred up, a little rough looking, a little rock and roll like, that says "In debt and death they trust," and it's to really represent what we're actively or passively supporting with our debts, our consumerism, our voting for rigged elections, our military, joining the military, buying the latest corporate gadgets. We're supporting those that would seek to enslave our children and children's children with unlimited amount of debts. To me, the genesis of this current Anglo-American empire is the Rothschilds, which are by far the largest banking family in human history, and own many of the world's central banks, and therefore own, the politicians, the corporations, the media, the armies of the world, and ultimately us through our debts. They're the ones that own all of our debts. So we actually did a one side of the coin talking about how this current paradigm is one of debt and death, and that the Rothschilds are at the core of that. The other side of the coin is a completely different side. It's actually a near proof-like finish, mirrored finish, not quite proof, but it's definitely shiny. It's got that kind of mirrored look at it. The lettering is much cleaner, and this represents the new paradigm, which I think is going to come out of the collapse of this old paradigm. And it talks about how we need to take individually a conscious solution to collectivist problems. I believe that through all this collectivism that we have been herded into this debt and death paradigm, and it's going to take individuals walking away consciously one by one from their system, deleveraging their power, deleveraging the money that's in the banking system, taking the physical silver out of their Ponzi scheme that they have there, and walking away. Stop voting, stop buying corporate trinkets, and that action also has an opposite effect, the silver shield effect, of actually protecting everything that we love, our family, our wealth, our world around us, and that we can actually end up being a blessing onto others as their old paradigm collapses. So, but there's also another couple cool features on it. Even the silver bullets, we actually put 47 different silver bullets in there to represent silver's atomic weight. So even the amount of bullets have some meaning to it. The shield itself, it is a shield, but it's also kind of like an arrowhead. So is it defensive? Is it offensive? And that's kind of the whole point of silver bullet and silver shield. Collapse the Ponzi paradigm and empower ourselves. And then finally, one of the things that I think that any logical person going down this path of getting to own silver is to listen to all and follow none. I mean, geez, even in our silver industry, there's a lot of crazy theories out there, and you kind of have to pick through all of it. And I recommend people to listen to all, but don't follow anything. Do things that resonate with yourself, and that'll lead you to a much better place. So that's basically my take on this coin. It's a very unique coin. It's 0.999% pure, and it's doing extremely well. And we haven't even begun to really promote it out there. And I'm so glad that you are taking the opportunity to support this coin too.
Well, thanks for that information. That's very, very unique, as you said, and I like the idea of what it represents, and I think we got that thoroughly covered. Rob, why don't you cover the implementation, since you're the one that's minting this coin? How hard was it to do a proof-like finish on one side and this, I guess, scarred up on the other, and what's your flow rate? I know there's been a pretty high demand on these already, so why don't you tell us, what it took to get this going, and are you going to get to a point where you can't meet demand?
Yeah, as Chris mentioned a moment ago, he's never seen a coin like this before, and frankly, we've never done a coin like this before. So fingers are crossed here, waiting to see what the final product's going to look like as it comes out. But just knowing what I know about our designers, our artists, our sculptors, our engravers, they're the best in the world, and we've scoured the planet trying to find these guys. Projects that they've worked on, like the Ron Paul medallion and the Lakota Crazy Horse medallion. I mean, just medallions that went from absolutely nothing, brand new, to being internationally recognized and demanded by investors and collectors all across the globe. They seek out AOCS approved now because it's the best quality they can get their hands on. And so we've put our best and brightest people on this project to make sure that the message that Chris wants to embody on this medallion really comes across loud and clear. And that's the whole idea. The whole idea is for somebody to be able to look at this thing and understand, not after hearing Chris's explanation, not after reading the description online somewhere, but just by looking at it to really understand what this thing's trying to get across in terms of the message. Looking at one side and saying, this is the old paradigm. This is what we're walking away from. This is what has enslaved us for hundreds of years, and we're saying goodbye to it now. And we're moving on to this shiny, bright future that has this silver lining. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world right now in the economic landscape, and it's not all negative for guys like you and me and a lot of the people out there listening right now that are paying attention. We've got a lot to look forward to. We've gone out of our way. We've taken on the challenge of protecting ourselves, our families, our wealth, all that stuff. And so the reverse of the medallion really conveys that message that, hey, there's a silver bullet out there. There's a silver shield. This is an opportunity to protect ourselves. And so the ultimate goal is for somebody to take one look at this medallion, the heads and the tails, or the obverse and the reverse, and get that clearly, loudly, and be able to feel it, be able to internalize it, and let it become a part of their waking up or their learning experience, and share that message with others. So we see this thing as being a great gift that people use to help spread that message of death and death that's on its way out, and the silver bullet and silver shield that's really on its way in. And as more people embrace that concept, it just helps the entire industry grow, and it helps the entire financial market start to understand really what value is all about. And so we're confident that our team of engravers and sculptors are going to be able to get that message clearly defined in this 1.535 inch 39 millimeter teeny tiny little spot. Our job, as always, is to make sure that the medallions produced that bear our mark, AOCS approved, adhere to the weight and the purity. And so the key that we do, that we bring to the table, is the guarantee that this thing is going to be 31.1 grams. It's going to be 0.999 fine or better. And that's our reputation, and that's the guarantee that we've made, and the promise that we've kept for 5 years now. And again, as I mentioned a moment ago, it's been really exciting for us because investors and collectors across the world now are looking for AOCS approved product, and that's very encouraging for me because for years we've had people getting out of the dollar, getting into precious metals because they don't trust what the government's doing to money. And if that's the case, I'm always surprised to hear that investors and collectors are going out there preferring things like silver eagles and other government minted coins. It's kind of like, wait a minute, why don't we have a free market standard for what quality really is? Why don't we have a trusted free market private company that's producing high quality coinage? In fact, if you look back at the history of where the dollar really came from, the Spanish dollar and the tolar before that, it was a private mint in a valley in Eastern Europe that had a very rich mineral deposit. And so people looked for those coins because they were the highest quality they could get their hands on. And so that's what AOCS has become over the last few years, the free market standard of excellence, both in minting quality, in beauty, in weight and purity. And so, it was very, very flattering and a huge compliment for Chris to select us as the organization that would take this medallion and his message out to this huge audience. We're well past 15,000 medallions at this point between the international orders that have come in, the web orders that have come in, and it's just getting faster and faster every day. So we see that as being a huge project for us. We rate our success on the number of ounces of silver, gold, and copper that we put into circulation. And so anytime we can partner with someone like Chris and Silver Bullet, Silver Shield to get more silver out there, it's just helping grow our barter marketplace, our economy. And the more money we have out there in ounces of silver in our economy, the greater the purchasing power is that we represent then to the marketplace of goods and services created by merchants that are willing to trade for this beautiful medallion. And so this has been a very successful project for us, and we're looking forward to the next one as it comes down the pike.
Actually, speaking of trade,
Rob, well, thank you for that. And you've mentioned AOCS several times, so why don't you explain what the American Open Currency System is all about?
AOCS was born out of the ashes of the Liberty Dollar. Some of our listeners out there may remember that name. It was a private voluntary barter currency started in 1998 by a pretty smart guy, but didn't really have all the pieces in place. And so in 2007, I came across it and I cleaned it up a little bit and changed a few things that I thought were really holding it back from being a real competing currency. AOCS produces medallions that don't look anything like U.S. coins to make sure that we avoid similitude issues. We don't call them dollars to make sure that the government doesn't think we're trying to compete with the dollar. And we establish our own marketplace of business owners that are willing to knowingly accept this medallion or these medallions as a private currency as opposed to thinking or mistaking them for U.S. coins. And so AOCS helps currency issuers put new medallions like this into circulation. It helps business owners get paired up with consumers in the marketplace that want to spend these medallions. I mean, one of the problems you got, Chris, is you created a really beautiful medallion. And the problem with beautiful medallions is people are very unwilling to let go of them and actually spend them out there. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to go out and spend silver by giving them an incentive to trade with people out there that are willing to accept silver. And so the nicer the medallion is, the less willing the consumer is to let go of it. And that's where you got Gresham's Law kicking in. And so we have the merchant marketplace that we're building with high quality goods and services that you can actually trade this medallion for. And then we also have a network of what we call community trade coordinators out there across the country that are helping build their local barter marketplace. And so we see the new currency as being kind of a ground up solution and response to what's happening at the Federal Reserve level. So we'd like to see individual communities insulating themselves, protecting themselves, and doing something about the economic crisis, little town by little town. We've got a cool project coming up here in Texas where the whole town is scheduled to flip over to silver. We don't know exactly if the town will go as far as changing their name to Silvertown or something like that, but we've got some exciting projects on the horizon. So we've got trade coordinators out there that build the marketplace. We've got currency issuers out there like Chris that put new medallions in circulation. And then we've got the merchants and business owners out there that are willing to accept these things and boldly demonstrate their commitment to being part of the solution. You know, I think we can get out and vote. We can wave signs and we can do stuff like that. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of energy, and the results are often not exactly what we looked for. You can right now, without any congressional approval, vote with your wallet, and you can get out there. You can take your dollars, you can put them into silver. You can take your silver and you can trade it with anyone that you want. There's no law, as I explored a few weeks ago with Chris down in the halls of Congress. that prevents a business owner from requiring payment in gold or silver. It's a huge misconception right now, David, and I think there's a huge opportunity for more explanation down or more exploration down that path. But the bottom line is that we have all the tools that we need right now to protect ourselves from what this out-of-control regime is doing. And that's what we need to do. We need to take control. We need to take ownership. And we need to get our hands on medallions like this and other privately minted coinage. And we need to start trading it with people that we want to do business with.
Excellent. Well, I wasn't going to comment, but I will. You got me thinking quite a bit, Rob. And on the accepting silver in payment, I did an interview with Dr. Edwin Vieira for the Morgan Report a few months ago, and basically explored that in several different ways. He's written a pamphlet, I think it's about 35 pages, on implementing gold or silver clauses into contracts if you're a business or even if you're an individual. Yep. And I gave him a point blank, a couple of hypotheticals, go in the hardware store and you agree that you want to buy that shovel for an ounce of silver. Have I done anything illegal? And the answer is, of course not. So again, it's a re-education of the populace, as Chris likes to use, and I like his word paradigm. I mean, everyone is locked into this box and can't get out of it. It's like the only way you can make a transaction is with, this fiat credit or debt-based system, and it's not true. In fact, what really irks me is my age, and that doesn't bother me. What irks me is that I'm old enough to know that we lived in the land of where you only could use silver in final payment. That was the only way legally to do it. And then from the time I was 11 years old on, the whole system changed. You could only go with this unbacked slugs, I call them. And then, of course, the international gold standard was reneged upon several years later. So basically, if you really look at it, we went off of a silver-backed standard in 65 and an international gold standard in 71. And since those two things have taken place, look what's happened to the system. So it's time to get it back. Really, we're doing nothing new. We're not inventing anything new. All we're doing is going back to honest money, which really, if you're going to put a banner on me, there's several you can put, and I'm sure there's some negative ones out there. Regardless, the point is I've been fighting for honest money my whole life, and I'm not giving up. And it's great to see you guys on board and using the methodologies that you are to bring this in a very practical, physical way to those that choose and wake up to use it.
That's right. And I think the key that we've learned in the last 5 years doing this is we've got to make it easy and convenient for people to do what they really want to do. So we're working diligently to remove a lot of those barriers. I know that we've got an upcoming conference here in Spokane in a few weeks where you're going to talk about some of the barrier removal ideas that you've been working on. We're going to talk about some of the ones that we have as well. But the bottom line is I think that most people right now, if given the choice of dollars or silver, are going to take silver. And so we need to make it as easy and realistic for them to use it as possible. And that's what the open currency has been working on for the last couple of years now. We've been doing a great job. So this coin is going to really help increase the size of our economy and our purchasing power that we've got out there in the marketplace. And we're just really looking forward to taking off even more.
Great, Rob. Chris, I'll come back to you. Any final words?
No, it's just we had a everybody who buys one of these coins, David, from now until when is it, Rob? The end of this month? I think it's
11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, September 30th.
Yeah, so for the next essentially 2 weeks or so, every person that buys one of these coins will be entered into a contest where they'll be able to win free round-trip airfare, so flight, hotel, and a chance to have dinner with the three of us at this year's 10th anniversary of the Silver Summit in Spokane, Washington. And then, David, on top of that, we just had an announcement yesterday. One of my Silver Shield group members is a pretty heavy hitter and owns Airstream Jets and has offered to donate, get this, a 5-hour executive jet card worth almost $15,000. So if you want to fly like the big boys, he's donated this to throw on top of this contest, and essentially every coin that you buy gets you involved in that. And I just think that's just such a
just remember too, Chris. It's one entry in the contest for every coin that you pick up. So if you pick up 100, you've got 100 entries into the contest, and it's free round trip travel to Spokane from anywhere you are in the continental U.S. for you and a guest. We'll put you and your guest up for 3 nights in the beautiful Davenport Historic Hotel where the conference is going to be held. We've got an exclusive dinner Wednesday evening with, like you said, the 3 of us and a couple of other guests, and it's just going to be a great time. So for every coin you pick up, you can go right now to silverbulletsilvershield.com. You can pick this medallion up. David, I think you've got a link that you'll be able to embed somewhere in there so that people can get to the right place. And just click on that link. It'll take you over there. And for every medallion you pick up, then you've got 1 entry into the contest, which closes out in just over 2 weeks.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I think we'll close out for now, and looking forward to seeing you both at the Silver Summit this year on October 25th and 6th in Spokane, Washington.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.